So there was a big shift when I was approaching my 20s of this push for women to be strong and independent, that they don't need a man in their life. Thinking that they can provide for themselves, which what they don't understand is providing is a lot more than just a financial aspect. That's the big mistake a lot of them make. It's a lot more than just a paycheck. Where women are told that they can dress a certain way, act a certain way, they don't need a man in their life, that having a man in their life would be living subpar and holding them down because they should go out and have their fun and live their life to the fullest. Meanwhile, they're in their 20s and even 30s in some cases where the clock's ticking. And all during that time, men are working on themselves. Men are not chasing women in their 20s and 30s like they used to. Like even I remember when I was in my early 20s, people used to go to bars a lot. I don't see men going to bars like they used to. I don't. I see a lot of women going to bars. Anytime I've been out and about, happen to drive by a bar or place like that, because breweries and stuff like that are big in the city I'm in. I would say it's an overwhelming majority, even up to 90% of the people there are female. And men are just ultimately done with everything. And what it feels like to me, if you guys have ever had this feeling where maybe it's late at night, you check the fridge, you open the fridge door to see if there's anything appealing, anything that you want to eat, and you see that it's empty and maybe there's a few leftovers or something like that. You might take a few laps around the kitchen and check again, but again, there's nothing there that's appealing. That's exactly what dating feels like, because every time that I've been told you should try this, you should try getting on these apps, which again, the apps are totally skewed and rigged, I just see things that cement everything that I've suspected and talk about in these videos. That's all I see. The label of single, right? Because I've been single for a number of years now. When I talk about single, I'm talking about being in a relationship, being committed. I've gone on dates here and there in the past few years, but again, it's only cemented how I feel. This label of single to, in some ways, talk down to men is not working anymore. It's not like when we were in high school. People mature out of that. It's not like when we were in high school and we were looking at our friends here and there getting girlfriends or people around us. Meanwhile, a lot of the time those women end up cheating. In a lot of cases I've seen over the years that I've been single, men having their lives completely ruined by women, divorce and custody battles. I was talking to someone the other day, actually earlier this evening, and he lives in an apartment complex. He was telling me about a woman who used to live there. She had a kid and she was a single mother. And overheard her talking about how she's going to be buying a house and moving out from that apartment. Meanwhile, the man was probably out working. Being the one that's essentially paying for this house, all in the father's ability to be there financially, but not there physically to see his child. And I've known people where their whole lives were committing to women like this, who end up doing stuff like that. So all these things that people tell you, labels of single, like it's something bad, does not work anymore. A lot of these men spent those years where people were going out chasing women, which I don't see anymore, like I mentioned, working on themselves. And it's a lot more than just even jobs and trades and getting into positions of companies, good companies and stuff like that. I'm talking about spending time with your real friends and your family and people that actually matter. Because I was talking to a buddy of mine who's also on YouTube, Casey Parks, if you happen to see this, shout out to you, man. Very sadly, his dog had passed away at the time of recording this a few hours ago. And I was thinking to myself, I have a dog right now who's 10 years old. She just turned 10 today, actually. And I was looking through my phone of pictures of her around 10 years ago. And she's got gray hairs now. She's still active and stuff like that, a medium-sized breed. So I think they live on average around 10 to 14 years. But why would I take time away from that to put towards a woman who's not going to reciprocate, who's not going to have mutual interest or commitment or loyalty? And that's ultimately why the chasing has stopped. Because before, men would waste their time on women who didn't show interest. They would want to win their love. They'd want to try to be this Prince Charming. and make the woman fall in love with them and do all these things and hoops and hurdles and be the court jester. Men are not doing that anymore. So when you hear women complaining, like I've seen online in videos and YouTube and social media, when you hear women complaining about how men are not approaching them anymore, what they really mean is men are not being the court jester anymore. That's what they mean. Because if it's this Chad guy that they want, which nowadays I don't even know if that label applies, it's really just a made up character on social media because they always think they can do better. They always think the grass is greener. If it's that guy, they'll be totally fine with it. But they want most men, meanwhile this woman could look average at best, they want most men to chase them. And we're not doing it anymore. We are not doing it anymore. This whole thing too with tests, right? Why would I agree to these tests and games and who texted last and this and that? So I can be tested for the next 45 years if it leads to marriage or anything like that? I'm not going to play games like that. And I want to say something too. Talking to modern women, if you guys have ever seen the movie Casino Royale, it came out in 2008 and 007, it feels like that chair scene in Casino Royale. You guys know what I'm talking about because it's torturous. It is torturous trying to talk to modern women nowadays and play this game that a lot of people used to pressure us into playing. I'm not going on dating apps. I'm not going to breweries or bars to meet a woman. That's not going to happen. Even at the gym, I've seen videos that women will take in the gym of men where he might happen to coincidentally turn his head for half a second. And she wants to say that he's staring at her and he's a creep. Meanwhile, this guy's on the treadmill or on the stair stepper or lifting weights, minding his own business. Women thinking that they are so important and that they're the center of the universe. Meanwhile, you spent more time choosing your outfit than you did in the gym. And then you want to act like you don't want that kind of attention. If you even get it. It's absolutely ridiculous. Men are wise to it now. They know the whole thing is a charade. And this whole thing where women think that a man who is respectful, a good man, is boring. Like, for example, the dates I've gone here and there, the women I've talked to over the past few years, I'm not going to change who I am to appease a woman. That's not going to happen. Again, I've seen people where they will base their whole daily routine, the way they dress, the places they go, even going to the gym, just to impress women. I'm not saying you shouldn't improve yourself. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying you should have a purpose greater than women. You shouldn't do things on a daily basis that revolve around women. I've seen a lot of men in their 20s and 30s do that and waste a lot of time with that. Again, this was a number of years ago. This was 5-ish plus years ago that I witnessed this kind of stuff. Like, truthfully, I don't even really go to at least big box commercial gyms anymore because I don't want to be around that kind of stuff. I don't want to be around women dressing a certain way and then acting like they don't want male attention. I don't want to do it. Most of the gyms I go to are, my buddy has his own private gym. It's a jiu-jitsu gym, bit of a tongue twister, jiu-jitsu gym that he has a weight set in, he has a squat rack, and I'm pretty minimal with my workouts. I don't need a bunch of fancy equipment and machines. Again, nothing against machines. I know there's a big debate of free weights versus machines, but I don't need a whole lot of equipment. So if I can go somewhere like that in a setting where I don't have to deal with drama and these kind of games, I'm going to do it. Powerlifting gym. So again, there's places that men can go where they don't need to be around this kind of stuff. I don't go to the big box commercial gyms, the chain gyms. I don't go to those places. I just choose not to. But you wonder why men are done. Because everything now feels performative. And in the 5-ish plus years that I've been single, this whole idea of building your repertoire on social media or having some fancy dating app profile, that's all performative. That's all fake. And again, that's all doing things to appease modern women. It's this whole keeping up with the Joneses thing. I'm going to be authentic and true to myself. And if being a good man, if being a respectable man, if having your stuff together is boring to modern women, then so be it. Again, because these are the same women who, once they hit the age of 35, they're going to want a man like that. They're going to want a retirement plan. And as that used to work, it does not work anymore. It doesn't. When women say things like they're happy, they want to act like they're happy, you can look at all the metrics and data in terms of women's well-being. They're not happy. Men are far better off single than women are. And ultimately, men, the two things that they really strive for is peace and solitude. Those two things are very important. If you're going to have someone in your life that is going to make your life harder, you need to avoid that person. Because I've seen a lot of women who they will get with men. And I've even seen this firsthand. They will derail them from their path. Take them away from spending time with family. Take them away from focusing on careers. These are men who had clear goals in sight, but they stopped because of a woman. And I want to say something too with, again, this goes to the selfishness. This very apparent rise in narcissistic women. And by the way, when I say narcissistic, because I hear that word thrown around a lot, I'm not just talking about a woman who takes a selfie and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about a woman who has no acknowledgement of taking responsibility for their own actions, who wants full control of your life and really manipulation. That's what I'm talking about. It's become far more common than it used to be. And during that time that I've been single, and I see people I know, friends of mine, acquaintances of mine, who have been in relationships, recently gotten out of relationships, I've seen a lot of women like that. Even the thing too is, I find it interesting, I don't see people getting in long-term relationships anymore. A lot of these relationships that I see men getting in are 3 months with a woman, 2 months with a woman, even less than that perhaps, really no one longer than 6 months. Because there is no loyalty and commitment. That's the thing. There is no loyalty and commitment. And with what a lot of women get wrong is they think that they're this high-value woman, right? Where they think because they wake up on the wrong side of bed, or it's 2 degrees colder than they like to be outside, that they're just going to decide to ghost the guy because they have so many on hold from their dating apps and from their social media. But what a lot of them don't understand, or maybe they understand but don't have the respect to even care, these men don't want you for dating. It's just for casual stuff. They don't want to take you seriously. They don't want to wife you. That's what a lot of them don't understand when they think they're getting this attention from men. See, they think that they can take the man's place now and be the provider and be the one that's the prize. That's not how it works, especially with the way that they behave nowadays. So you have a lot of women who are seeing that and thinking that, but that's just what it is. They're not men who are looking to take you seriously, because you are not a woman who is worth taking seriously. You're not a woman who is worth introducing to my parents or someone's parents or being married. And again, I'm not for the casual stuff, by the way. I'm not for that at all. That's, again, why I choose not to waste my time. If it's not a woman who I can introduce to my parents, lead to marriage or commitment, or see myself raising a family with, you couldn't pay me to waste my time with her. I'm not going to do that at all. So even the thing too, a lot of women that think that are in for a very, I would say, a very bad position down the line, where they are going to be lonely and they are going to be miserable and they're going to be bored because they're not going to have the dating app validation and the social media validation like they used to. And anyone who wants to try to say, oh, well, they're just doing that for themselves, then why is their social media account on public? That's what I would say to anyone who thinks that a girl is just doing these things for themselves and doesn't want attention and validation, why is their account on public? Why is it not on private? That's my question, seriously. So even with that, just thinking of how fast time has gone, it's been a number of years since I've been in a relationship. One of the last girls that I talked to seriously, I touched on this a little bit in a video from a while ago, but a girl who I met at a friend of mine, his memorial, very sadly, he had passed away, and she had reached out to me over social media, and we talked, and she was acting like she was some good girl, even going as far as putting scripture and stuff like that in her stories, which again, I'm all fine with that. I'm all for that. But this girl was with a guy who was in the military. She was living in his house. She was caring for his daughter, driving his car, and she's doing this kind of stuff behind his back. I don't care what it is. I would not waste an ounce of my day on a woman like that. Number one, they're going to do the same thing to you. They've already shown who they are. Number two, you're really contributing to the problem if you know that and are going to be spending time with a woman like that. Some of them will even go as far as hiding it. Most of them, quite frankly, will. She tried to hide it. I only found out through people who know her. But as always, guys, I appreciate you viewing the video. Hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.